Hey, thanks for taking the sec to watch this. Wanted to give you a little more information about this role. Just for context, I'm Pete. I run Forward. Before I ran Forward, I was a software engineer and a CTO at a few early stage startups. And Forward is a consulting firm, but unlike a traditional consulting firm, we subcontract out literally all of the work we do. And we do this for a lot of reasons, but the main reason that we do it is because I think it allows us to match people to work a lot more effectively than we otherwise could. So in this case, we're working with this client, with this company, FinLocker. FinLocker has been around for a while, for about 12 years, but it's like roughly the size of this seed stage company, maybe a small Series A company. They have about 6 engineers. I think they maybe have 40 employees overall. And FinLocker started out, I believe, selling mortgages. And then maybe 5 years ago, they introduced like an educational product that targeted people who were, say, like 2 or 3 years away from buying a home. So the idea was like, let's find people who are going to buy a home soon and start sending them content and get them to know us so that when they do go to buy a home, they will purchase a mortgage from us. And they sell other home lending. If you want to do a HELOC, they'll do that, other home lending stuff, but mostly mortgages, right? So, anyways, they have these financial products that they sell, and they have this kind of like educational experience, this like long funnel that they try to move users through for their sale. In terms of their stack, they have a .NET app with a Angular app sitting in front of it, deployed on Azure, using Postgres as a database. It's like a fairly standard setup. And in terms of the team, they have the CTO, Brian, who has a ton of .NET experience and understands Azure pretty well. He's been there for 12 years, it's just since the beginning. He's built this thing from the ground up. Brian's a really strong engineer, and then they have Prince underneath Brian, who's like a lead engineer. They've hired him as like an AI ML engineer, but there's not a lot of AI and ML engineering work to do, so he's been helping out with some other stuff. And beyond Prince, I think they now have just three other engineers. I think they let go the person who you would be replacing here. They tried to hire someone for this, and it just didn't work out. So they're looking to replace them, not through us. We're going to probably place a couple other people over there for other things. This is the first time we're working with them. So the other three engineers of the team are like fairly junior. They're people maybe that have 2, 3, 4 years experience. And so the team's a little bottom heavy and they don't have like senior people that they can give like complex units of work to. And they're looking for someone who has a lot of experience and can come in and tackle complicated problems for them, who can figure out how to build things on their own without being told, do things in a way that makes sense, can push back potentially on the CTO or the head of product if they're asking for things that maybe don't make sense, and can maybe ID things that they're doing that might make sense for them to do it in a different way. You know, that type of engineer who can, of course, execute on this stuff, right? The core need here is someone who's strong on the back end and can contribute there. That's like the main thing. That said, they have an Angular app that they feel is a little could use some love. Like the person that built the Angular app has maybe 3 or 4 years of experience, but they started building it when they had 1 year of experience and they're new to this stuff. And I think there's just a sense that it's probably not set up in the best way. There's some maybe low hanging fruit in terms of refactoring work that could be done to improve the thing. So this is not a requirement for the role. The front end stuff is not. We would take someone happily who's just really strong in the back end. But if you do happen to have Angular experience, like transferable React experience, and you're in a position where you could look at what's happening on the front end and identify like some refactoring opportunities. You see this stuff a lot. That would be easy for you. That's great. That's definitely nice to have. In terms of the interview process, so it'd be a call with us. It'd be like a high level 30-minute call. We'd just ask you how you would build a feature for them, talk to you about it. The next step, I believe, would be a call with Andrea. So Andrea is the head of product over there. Andrea's really great. She's our main point of contact. Andrea is the head of product, but she kind of runs the engineering team. All the engineers report to her. She does one-on-ones with the engineers. She decides like what they work on. If they're hiring people, she's the final like hire no hire decision. She figures out like what the shape of the roles they need are. But the whole engineering team has kind of like a dotted line to the CTO, who's like kind of the most. He's kind of like a chief architect type of person. But yeah, I think the first call would be with Andrea. And the second call would be a call with the CTO and with Prince, who's their like AI ML engineer, the kind of most second most senior person on the team. That call is they say it usually takes 90 minutes, but they allocate 2 hours for it just in case, I don't know, something gets flubbed or whatever. But it's three live coding exercises, which like we don't love live coding, but that's what they do. The first thing is basically like build a feature-ish in the app. It's not like data structures and algorithms. They didn't tell us exactly what it was, but we asked about it and they were like, it's like something that you would do. It's like building a feature for an application, right? It's not like reversing a linked list or something like that. So the first 30 minutes you would do that. I don't even think that they're going to run the code. It's not like you need to get it working and debug it, like where are the tests and stuff. It's more like you'll start writing some stuff like layout and architecture. I think probably do like some data modeling, like what SQL tables would you create, how would you create the domain model, etc. And you are writing code, but I don't think you're running the code. It's like a conversation starter, and there is coding, but it's more about like the design choices you're making and that type of thing. So that's the first 30 minutes. The second 30 minutes is a continuation of that. So it's like the same problem, but it's okay, what if it also has to do this, right? And then it's just a continuation of that first 30 minutes, but they've cut that up into a separate chunk. And the final 30 minutes, to be completely honest with you, I spoke with them earlier today and they told me what that was, but I forgot. But it's a separate thing. It's also not algorithms or data structures. I forgot exactly what it was, but it's separate from the first two. And they say usually they're able to get through everything they need to get through in 90 minutes, but they schedule for 2 hours in case like there's a miscommunication or a misunderstanding, there's issues with that or whatever it is. So those would be like the two steps with them. And then if things went well, they'd want to get you started. They'd like to get somebody started like as soon as possible, but it's also like a 12-month, it's like a permanent, they're thinking about this like a contract that will run indefinitely, right? It's not like it's a 3-month contract or a 6-month contract or even a 12-month contract. It's just they want this person around like basically a member of the team, like full time. So they do want to move quickly and they do want to get somebody in fast, but because they're thinking of it like a long-term role, they do want to take their time to make the right hire. And if you need to give a couple weeks notice or you have a vacation coming up, like they're gonna make an offer to the person they feel is the best fit, not the person who can start the soonest. But if you can start soon, that's great and that helps. The team I should mention too is it's US remote, right? So like everyone's in the US, they anchor on Eastern time, but no one's in office. You won't be the one person who's remote. I do think you will be the one person from Latin America for now, but we're probably going to hire another Latin American dev into their team to do some like data engineering work in the next few weeks. That person might only be there for 3 to 6 months, but I don't know. I think they're increasingly interested in hiring out of that region because it beats hiring junior devs out of the States, which is what they've been doing historically. Anyways, next, definitely feel free to meet with any questions you have that I wasn't able to answer, or whoever it is from the team that's reached out. I should be CC'd on the email that you get about scheduling. The email is peterwithforward.com. Yeah, thanks for taking a sec to watch this. I'm looking forward to getting you in touch with the team.